postseason,
or
we
if they
might
want to play each other in friendly,
or
send
some
them
sort
away.
of friendly. But so just so you guys know, 2016 Copa Frontera is on hiatus.
Yep, we know that, and the league is aware,
yeah.
and
It was
we're
really-
going to continue to stress the importance of the Supporters Club trophies because they're as organic as it gets.
Yeah.
And,
So,
and
With
big
that said, we get to keep it in red and yellow for another, at
Exactly.
least another year, unless there's something to negotiate.
Now, on the grassroots level, don't forget. It looks like we haven't officially announced it, but it's kind of been leaked. It looks like we've got a UPSL side coming out for a friendly match May 7th, and that's the Phoenix Monsoon.
All right.
They'll compete in the UPSL, which is mainly California teams,
Yeah.
and a couple of Arizona teams. And so we've got an agreement from them. We're waiting final confirmation, but we're pretty confident we'll have the Phoenix Monsoon out here for May 7th at St. Pius.
So in terms of your streaming, are you getting good enough numbers? Did you get good enough numbers? It makes it worthwhile because we've, again, through organic and social media, we've got a lot of people that follow us.
Yep.
Following the team now that may never set foot in New Mexico, but they want. And so one question I had from a friend in the New York area is, will the streaming be better this year? Have you done anything to upgrade? It was decent, but will it be better this year?
I think it's gotten better year over year.
Yeah.
We do have challenges with the facility we're in, and it's not a knock on St. Pius at
Right.
all.
But it's
just
not
they've only
wired.
got so much bandwidth,
Right.
and it's a mobile setup.
So it's just a
we
bandwidth
made it a
issue.
little more wired, and I don't want to get into technical
Okay.
terms here. We made it a little bit more wired and reliable this second year, and of course we're always working to improve and getting that better for the third year. So we do work with ProView Sports, who have tons of experience here locally. They do all the high school games.
Right.
They do a lot of UNM games, like we were talking about. They Lobo baseball now. So they've got tons of experience doing it. So it's not on them at all. They're a great organization.
It's just
and
a
do
band-
a great. It's a
strictly a bandwidth
It's a
issue.
strict,
Okay.
straight bandwidth at our facility. Our games at UNM though will obviously be a lot
Right.
better bandwidth than our games.
So you will be able to harness the infrastructure already in place that they use for
Yep.
Lobo TV games and everything.
Absolutely.
Correct. And just from speaking to the administration out at St. Pius, they completed a renovation of their training room and some of the other things. So they've adjusted some wiring. So it hasn't been tested because of the off season of all of the field sports. Or soccer sports and football predominantly, but they're actually going to be looking to try to test that to make sure that we are trying to increase that bandwidth.
Great, thanks. So we have Keith and Jeremy here. Either one of you guys have a question for the leadership? If not, that's fine too. I think Andrew has
I can
another.
come up with another question.
Andrew's got another one.
All right, the Las Vegas and Tucson matches, both at UNM Soccer Complex.
Yep.
Excellent get. I think we'll be able to. The possibilities for us drawing better, just because of the central location, I think is great. Are we planning on having any sort of tailgate events for either one of those matches? I know that.
Or will it be up to us to?
Or will it be up to, or will we be able to hold any tailgate events there that involve alcohol and other type things? Because I know that's not necessarily something we can do at St. Pius.
Yeah, it's something I can't answer officially just because I got to check on UNM's rules and regs and the contract we have with them. So I'll have to choose to not answer officially on that.
Well, for Lobo games, we've been able to have beers before and after
You have.
in that parking lot
Okay.
without any hassle. Of course, for the football games, they have
Yeah, that
tailgating.
is the tailgate law.
Right.
No problem. But, so we'll assume so until we hear otherwise.
I think that'd be a
Or
safe
keep
assumption,
it-
but I can't officially answer until I've read through the
Yeah, I was
contract.
going to say, if you can let us know in advance, because I know that Tucson, obviously, they have a fan base that comes down
Yeah.
for these games.
Yep.
Las Vegas, as Jason.
At least Jason.
The Tucson game, the game on the 25th, is also a game that coincides with an Isotopes game.
Yep.
So those parking lots are going to be extremely busy.
Yeah.
So if once we do get the go-ahead, I suggest that's probably going to be something that you guys are going to have to probably establish early. Again, we will have to work that out just because of the amount of parking. You guys know how the isotopes.
Yeah, and if we were going to do something like that, I think what we'd want to do is buy ahead of time, buy a certain number of parking spots, because UNM will be charging for parking. They haven't told us the official number, assuming it'll be $5 for parking for those games.
Yeah, that's generally what it is for isotopes.
Yeah. So
Unless you're able to-
if we're going to do something like that, like an official tailgate, maybe set up a nice tent or something, do some grilling or whatever, we'd probably want to pre-buy parking spots for that, and then we'll get you guys information on that too. But we would lean, I think, on you guys to help organize. We can organize too, but I think it's better if it's an event for the Sandinistas, we can drive, potential members to you guys
speaking
too.
of event, this is the first time because we're kind of ragtag and we're just a couple of guys, few guys jagging around.
We're very similar.
Yeah.
We're very similar.
We're very
yeah.
similar organizations.
But this event got almost 2,500 impressions on Facebook, and
Awesome.
I think we've had two others in the previous 2.5 years, and got maybe 20 or 30. So you're amplifying our message. Definitely is working, and so if
Good.
we do something like that, we just everybody talking about it in the social sphere, and there's 15, 20 people here, whether
Yep.
they're sitting at the table or not. So.
And this will continue to grow. I know it will.
What about the Lobo player allocations? When can we expect to hear who's coming over from the Lobos?
So Coach Gordon is very good at keeping his lips tight on this stuff because he wants to make sure he's got commitments from the right guys, what he needs for his team. So as you guys know, when you're putting together a team, you've got certain needs at certain positions with certain styles of play. And I'll probably let Larry speak a little more to it since he's more the coach than I am. But he hasn't told us yet which players. He has told us there's some players from last year that are still local guys that will be coming back, so I think we can kind of do the math on those.
Right.
But he's been very tight.
Is there a time frame? Is there a time frame though when they become rostered, or we'll get announcements?
No, it'll be happening rather quickly here because we're going to have to get registrations, especially from the internationals.
Okay.
I'm comfortable enough in saying that Pat Pacheco will be back, Giovanni Rowley will be back,
He's all right there.
Manuel
Yes.
Campos will be back.
Okay.
And I'll let it linger with those three.
Okay. All right. How about questions? Still no questions from the Keith? You got one?
Well, yeah, I was just curious. How's that kid doing down in Mexico?
Ricardo Swoop.
Yeah.
He's probably had more.
He just
contact
played
with
with Catamas Blanco 2 days ago.
Cuauhtemoc Blanco, he
Yeah.
absolutely
And
did.
Blanco played 35 minutes today and almost scored.
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
So Ricardo is effectively on the
Jeff
U20
Shaw.
team.
Nice to meet you, Sean.
He is. He has started. I think they've had 11 games so far since he signed, and he started 8 of the 11. He has scored. I think he's sitting on 3 goals right now. He's achieving. He's living the dream.
He's definitely part of their system.
Absolutely.
It's beautiful.
Getting to play in the Azteca and
So the interesting thing is that he's starting. They don't train with the A team all the time, but it does happen occasionally. But in all of their big gatherings and everything like that, he's walking around with Oribe Peralta, saying, "Hey, what's going on?" It's kind of crazy.
That's big. That's a big deal. So.
Yeah.
All right, so let's start wrapping up. Do you have any remaining questions, Andrew?
well, I guess I'm curious. Do we have any connections with any other local talents like Ricardo that we're planning on bringing in for 2016?
I have no knowledge of that. I don't know if Larry does.
Yeah, there's a few players that have kind of they've been around. They were really good in the scene that have kind of had fallen off the radar for a little while, and that are coming now back up. And here's the beautiful thing, and I will play it like this. Coach Gordon is very, very humble, and he likes to give you the impression that we're going to be all right. he doesn't settle for all right. So he always keeps things very, very close to the chest, but he's constantly working on how can I make this and how can I manipulate it better.
We could see that at the open tryout for sure. There's any possibility any of the open tryout guys sniff the roster?
There's a few that will be coming back to for preseason stuff. So a lot of them, there'll be a few that'll get invited into the preseason that starts next week. The preseason is basically working to see if there's a possibility of working their way in with all the guys coming in.
Okay, so Bonner has a question with regard to the pyramid, the U.S. pyramid, and how does the pyramid impact your operations? Whether it's, I guess, your day-to-day operations, but your aspirations. How does the U.S. pyramid impact your thoughts and your plans, your 5-year plan, etc.?
I think it gives you a clear set goal as to where you want to go. I mean, we've been pretty vocal since we started. We see, top flight of U.S. soccer being able to be played here in New Mexico. It's not going to happen overnight, and we're certainly not ready for it yet. But that's what we're trying to build, and that's what you guys, I think, are trying to build as a fan base, is how do we get to that next level and keep moving up. So to answer your question, Bonner, when we see the pyramid, I'm a visual guy, and I run small businesses, and this is one of them. And I like to see the path towards where we're going to be going. And the pyramid just allows me to better see that path and focus on one step at a time. How do we get to that next level, which would be like the USL Pro League? We've set a goal publicly of 2018 for that. We're doing everything we can to achieve that goal. So.
Without breaking news, do you ever hear from any international clubs, like with Rayo coming into Oklahoma City, and with the new Miami NASL, and it seems like this would be a ripe environment for some international investment if the pyramid has any upward mobility potential.
We absolutely do. And we had to keep it hush-hush at the time, but about 8 months ago, we hosted a group from Mexico City who were very interested in a USL franchise. They were looking at Albuquerque and 2 other markets. They came in, we hosted them for about 4 days, got to show them our beautiful city, got to take them on a trolley ride around the city, show them what we had to offer, showed them the business world, showed them the sports world. Unfortunately, we weren't able to show him a game, but he got to see what we're about and what we've built. Unfortunately, they didn't pick our city, but as far as we've been able to track, they haven't picked one of the other cities yet too, so I'm not sure if they ended up buying a franchise or not. So I wouldn't say we lost out on an opportunity, but it was a good experience for us and opened our eyes as to what we need to be able to show the country and the world as to why we should have pro soccer here. Any other inquiries that you...
It starts to become rather interesting, and we've gotten to a point where we're turning more heads than we ever thought we were, because we get into certain arenas where people are like, "Oh, you guys are the guys from the Soul," and some of these guys would have never have taken 2 looks at us before, and now we're turning some heads with some local bigger dollars, locally and statewide. So money attracts money. So we continue to turn those heads, and the bigger fish will come.
When it comes to the pyramid, a lot of it comes down to financials. And you've got to have the right ownership groups. And as soccer has developed and gotten bigger and bigger, U.S. soccer and the leagues have become a lot more stringent on who these ownership groups can be. So without getting into too deep into the business side of it, at the end of the day, the soccer team is a business. And
that's a great tifo.
What's that?
Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
That was great. That was great. Get a look at Portland's tifo. Sorry for the. Do you have another question?
On that note, though, really quick, we're looking at and talking about the Portland tifos and creating the culture and developing that. So, if you think about it from the standpoint of myself, when I was playing, which was 20 years ago, Portland and Seattle were both in the same league.
Right.
So they have been around for 20 years.
Yeah.
So we're basically trying to fast track our growth and development so we can get there, which is what now a 3-year franchise with Portland Timbers.
More like 7, but I got your point. Yeah. All right, so we're going to wrap this up because the kickoff is coming. Andrew's got a
I have
question.
one last question with regards to USL. I'm assuming that's our next path, not NASL.
It's USL would be the natural next step,
Yeah.
but NASL is certainly not outside of the picture. USL is by soccer standards considered third division,
Yeah.
and NASL is considered
But
second
they're-
division.
But they are
But they're
attempting to go second.
attempting to go second division by 18 or 19, I think. USL would be the more natural next step.